Hello, and welcome back to Gardening with Andrew. Today, we have so many flowers out here in the garden. It's truly and properly spring. It's amazing and wonderful, and things smell gorgeous, and there's beautiful colors all over the place. We have successfully evacuated winter, and we are on to the endless hot spring-summer of the California Central Valley. So, with flowers come the need for deadheading, and that's what we're talking about today. Deadheading meaning like taking off the old flowers, the ones that look bad, so you can get more flowers. And there's a whole science to this, and we're going to look at that today. I'll show you how to deadhead the different plants and maybe a few you want to avoid doing as well. So let's get to it. Every time a flower blooms, a flower dies. That's the law of flowers. And most flowers don't last very long. And when a flower dies, it looks terrible. So we have to get rid of those ugly flowers because it looks bad. But there's actually a better reason as well. We can get more flowers if we get rid of the bad ones. Plants really aren't used to the whole garden thing. Remember, plants are wild. We're taming them. So the way things actually work isn't exactly how nature would expect it to work. So we're making up new rules here. And we figured out, us gardener types, that if you take away a flower after it's done and cut it back in a certain way, then you can get more flowers, often 2 or 3 times as more flowers than if you just left it alone, which means more flowers for you to look at and cut, or more flowers for the bees or the butterflies, or that beetle that comes in the middle of the night and like crawls up the stalk and puts their little back end into it and kind of like wiggles around like that. Oh man, that guy's great. The reason we want to remove the flowers is what a flower's job is to get pollinated by the various pollinating guys, and that will make it so it can have sexual reproduction, right? The bees or whatever take pollen from other plants, mix it together. That matching of DNA is how you make baby. And then the flower goes away and a seed pod forms in its place. And then that can turn into seeds that fall on the ground or get carried away by birds, and new flowers are made, which might be what you want. In that case, don't deadhead. Leave them where they are. Sometimes at the end of a flowering life or the end of a season, when you know the plant's going to die anyway, you just leave the flowers on there, they turn into seeds, and then you got some more for next year. So sometimes you want to like deadhead at the beginning of the plant's life, and then right when it's about to like get cold or change temperature in some way, you just leave it the way it is, it turns into seeds, and then you have some seeds for next year. That's sexual reproduction. Classic old school thing. Talk to your parents about it if you want to know more. But the other way of making more plants is asexual reproduction. A as in without. So you can actually make more plants from a plant without other plants. The way you do that is you can make cuttings, and we'll talk about this at some point in the future, but lots of plants, you just snip off a little bit of it, stick it in the ground, boom, you got more plants. It's amazing, and it's one of the funnest parts of gardening, I think. Anyway, it's all very simple, and really you don't even need any tools. You can just use your fingers for small flowers, or if you have larger flowers or really want to do it right, some clippers, secateurs, even just some sharp kitchen scissors would work, but sharpness is really what you want. It's rude to cut a plant with dull anything. So the sharper the better. That sharp cut. It's kind of like a surgeon. They came at you with like an old pocket knife from your grandpapa, and they started like cutting into you with that. It would not make a very good cutting experience. So nice and sharp, like a scalpel. That's you. You are the plant surgeon. Maybe an adorable little basket just to like hold stuff in. If you're just doing a few at a time, you can just hold them in your hand, throw them in the compost, like that thing where you hold your shirt out and make like a little basket. That's a good one too. Maybe put them in your pocket, save them for later, whatever you want. So that's everything we need. We're ready to go. It's a beautiful sunny day. Let's get out in the garden and decapitate some flowers. So first, we have here some calendula. Which is a relative of the old marigold. Great for the garden, keeps the pests away certain times, theoretically. But it does have a propensity to deadhead, or need deadheading. Look at this. Oh, scrubby little flowers here and there. They don't look fantastic. And this is a plant that really responds well to deadheading. You cut one off, you'll get 5 more in response to it. So definitely a great guy to deadhead here. But what you don't want to do is just, like the name suggests, cut the head off. Deadheading is actually cutting off to the nearest node, the nearest intersection in the plant. So you have to, if this was like the main stem and you had a flower coming out here, you want to go all the way back to where the main stem is and cut off at that point. And the reason is that stem isn't going to give you any more flowers. It does it once, it's done. It needs to make a new stem in order to produce more flowers and be useful to the plant. So in a way, it's sort of dead weight. The plant really won't want to keep it there. And it doesn't look great, you know, it's like a sticky outy thing with nothing on top. So we're going to come all the way down to the base here and just find the next connection. It's way down there, you can't even see it. And snip that off, take that out, put it in our adorable basket. And that's really all there is to it. So you just go through cutting off all the way down to bitty bits there. Boom. And here we have Nicotiana, which is a relative of the tobacco plant. Same family there, but this one is extra poisonous. And this guy is known for its fantastic evening scents. This is the first year I've grown it. It's really cool. Flowers don't look like much, but during the evening they grow bigger, they open up, and they let out this fantastic scent, which is perfect for an evening barbecue or what have you out on the patio. But it does shed flowers like crazy. It makes a ton of flowers, and they don't last very long. And you can see, like right over here, this flower is already dripping off. These little guys here are the dead flowers. And it leaves behind what will be the seed pods. So seeds are already forming in there. So all I got to do is take my secateurs and get in there and carefully cut it away. Notice how I'm holding it parallel to the main stem. If you kind of come at it like this, you will still get the spot, but there's a good chance you're going to cut the entire thing and you'll lose the stalk. So I've learned this the hard way. You want to get in close using the flat side and get as close to the stem as you can, and then cut along the body of the thing you're trying to protect. And that'll make sure it's more idiot-proof that way, that you're not going to cut it. So you can just come down there, always using the flat side up against the edge, so you can get as close to it so there's no sticky outy nub, which looks better and will help the plant heal faster. And here we have our daffodils, which are done for this season. They were beautiful, taking up this whole space under our out front cherry tree. But now they look terrible. They're just little blobs of browny yellow sticking out of the ground here. So what we're going to do is deadhead them. This one's trick. This is the tricky one. You don't want to cut it all the way back like the other guys. You just want to grab and take out the part that is discolored and browned and looks like it's dying. Just clip that out. Boop. Like that. You're just taking out that part, because with bulbs you want to give as much greenery back to the plant. It's actually going to absorb all that green power back into itself, and the bulb is going to hold on to it to make flowers for next year. All bulbs that flower are actually making the flower this year for next year, and it's going to hold it inside of its bulby self for next year, and there's a little flower in there, and that's how they can come out so fast when they first start up. So all we have to do with this one is literally deadhead it. Just take off top heads like that, get them out of there. Looks a lot better, and we're leaving the rest of the greenery to die back naturally so it can be stronger, better, faster next year. And here we have our beautiful rose, which doesn't quite need deadheading yet. It just started flowering, but if you want to make cut flowers and bring them in, it's basically the same thing as deadheading. The same rules apply. So if I wanted to have some roses for the dining room or what have you, carefully step back here, and I would find one that I want to take in, or maybe one in this case that's a little scrubby. So like this guy, he's seen better times, and I also want to clear out that space for more roses. So again, being very careful because there's a lot going on here. Notice that there's some other new buds on the sides here. Definitely want to leave those where they are. So coming down as low as I can to the next juncture, I'm going to snip that guy out. There we go, and we got him. Our African daisy, which is a beautiful bush getting bigger every year, and it makes this huge bloom of flowers, which is really fantastic, that are now interbreeding with each other. See, some are purple, some are white, and the newest ones are purpley white. Oh, fantastic. But this guy makes a ton of spent flowers. Each one doesn't last very long, and you can see right here, there's an example. It just kind of shrivels up and goes away. This plant, it can be hard to tell what a new flower that's about to open looks like versus a dead flower. So if you do this regular, you can always tell because the dead flowers have crumpled up dead petals. So come in there, and again, going all the way down, ignore any leaves. We're just looking for nodes, the main junctures. Lift it out. And then you have to do that about 800 times a week. Oh my goodness. So each one of those coming out. But this one, for example, I should not cut this one. This is a new one, and you can kind of tell it's more pointed. The petals are more organized, facing in a single direction, and it's just full of potential. See? Oh, it's lovely. And that's deadheading for you. Really not too complicated. The main thing is you want some sharp shears or scissors to make sure you're making a nice clean cut on the plant. And if you don't cut it in exactly the right spot, the plant will be fine, honestly. It's not a big deal. Plants are very adaptive. They know what they're doing, so trust them to do their job. But once you start deadheading, you'll see how easy it is, and really, honestly, you'll see tons of new flowers appear that you wouldn't normally get in past years. So it's a great activity to wind down at the end of the day, or maybe bring your family out and do it as a group activity with little secateurs for everybody. Oh, that would be fun. So that's us for this week. Next time we're going to be transplanting and making little things become big things in the freest way possible, which is making cuttings from your own plants and growing them on into full-fledged members of your garden. So stick around for that. Also, subscribing makes me feel good in my insides. It makes me want to do more videos. So please consider doing that. All right, we're done. Thanks, guys. See you next time. Is that what we do? A spider. Wow. That is a tiny spider. Hey, little guy, going for a fly? I got a good spot for you. There you go. Ah, the garden. Lovely.